Okay, I'm going to show you how to do a one-point perspective word drawing. And what you'll need is the worksheet with the alphabet on it, a piece of scratch paper, so just any type of paper that has a blank side, and a white piece of copy paper. So first of all, what you're going to do is get your white piece of paper, set it down, and you also need a ruler, a marker, pencil, and an eraser. Okay, so you're going to take your ruler and you're going to line the ruler. We're just going to make a border on the paper, and we're just going to use the width of the ruler to get the border created. So I'm putting the edge of the ruler, lining it up with the edge of the paper, and then I'm going to draw a line across the paper. Do the line lightly so that you can erase it, and then you're going to do that with the other three sides. So we're going to just get a line on all four sides of the paper. Remember your ABCs, so adjust the paper as you need to make it easier for you to make the marks that you're doing. Don't forget to breathe. And don't forget to connect, stay focused on what you're doing. Connect your mind, connect your body to the process. All right, so once you have your border, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to use a marker, and I want you to try to do this freehand. So remember, you don't want to be leaning down on your desk. You want to be sitting straight so that your elbow isn't pressing on your desk, so that your hand can move freely. Hold the marker on the line and pull your hand using your shoulder as a pendulum to just pull that straight, okay? So then do that with the other sides. And if it's not perfect, don't worry, because this is just a practice, but I want you practicing those straight lines. And it's easier if you are pulling the pencil, so you want to turn your paper so that you can pull with the marker and making a vertical line rather than a horizontal line. It's harder to get a straight horizontal. All right, and then once you've done this, you're going to cap your pen, use your eraser, and erase your pencil marks that are still showing. Okay, now we're going to make a guideline to line the top of the letters up with. And so just use the width of your ruler again. And we're going to do a line inside the border line that you just created and bring that across the paper. And then we're going to have a starting point for our letters to the left, and this line doesn't need to go all the way across. You can just do it about that long, because that's about how much you need for the letters. All right, so now this is where we're going to use the scratch paper. You want to put the scratch paper down underneath your paper you're drawing on. And what this is for is it's going to allow you to see the letters through the paper more easily. So we're going to be doing the word cat as our practice word. So you're going to line up the top of your C with this line you drew here, and the side of your C with the line you drew here, and then just carefully trace around the letter. And remember, it's okay for you to turn your paper. You don't have to keep it straight, so go ahead and turn it to adjust it to make it easier for you to get the letters drawn. carefully. Be careful that your paper underneath isn't slipping if you're moving your paper around. Okay, so now we have C. Then we're going to do A, and I'm going to have the A, probably starting like right about there, the bottom of the A. And get that lined up. I'm going to get the top of the A lined up with the line up here. We're going to trace around the letter. Again, try to do these straight lines. Try to do all these lines freehand using your skills, developing your skills to get those lines straight by holding, holding your hand steady. And remember, light pressure with the pencil. Don't forget to breathe and keep yourself relaxed as you're drawing. That will help your lines become more fluid and less shaky or uneven. And then the last letter, T, so you want to get that position so you have good spacing. You don't want it way far apart. You don't want to have it smashed up right against the previous letter. You want to have a good amount of spacing. So use your judgment on that. Put it where you think is good. We're going to trace the T. All right, now set aside your, you're done with your letter worksheet. You won't need that at all anymore. Now we're going to trace over the letters with marker. So make sure you're trying to get that nice flow with your line. Don't forget to breathe. Track the line with your eye so you're following where you're going. When you're aiming for a spot, keep your eye on the point you're trying to connect as you're moving. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at drawing curved lines that are flowing and straight lines that are straight and not jagged or crooked or wiggly or anything. This is just strictly practice, like riding a bike, learning how to catch a ball, learning how to shoot a basket. So as I'm doing this T, it's all vertical and horizontal lines, so I drew all the verticals. Now I'm going to turn my paper, and now I'm going to come across and just do what were the horizontal, but I have the paper turned so that they are vertical for me as I'm drawing them. Okay, so now the letter is traced. Next thing you're going to do is just erase any of these pencil marks that are still showing. All right, so you have the word cat is a little bit more over to the left, the upper left corner of inside the frame that we did, the border, and that was done for a reason. We're going to be drawing the vanishing point lines. We'll be moving over this way and moving towards the bottom of the paper. So what you're going to do is just make a dot about an inch or so up from the bottom border line, and kind of have it on the border. So on the border about an inch up from, so not right in the corner, about an inch up. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the ruler, pencil, And these lines we need to draw with the ruler because we want to make sure we're getting them exactly matching up. So we're going to be connecting from each corner on the letter. So these points, we're going to connect the ruler with this point and our dot and draw a line, and then repeat that with the other points that I circled. So here, you want to make sure that you're getting this dot every time. You don't want to have it off. You want to have it coming right onto that dot you made. You want the dot to be small. You don't want to do a big giant dot. You want to do a small dot so that your target is small. So check both points before you start drawing your line. Hold, if you are having trouble with the ruler slipping, use your fingers, spread out your fingers, turn your paper so that it's in a position where you can hold the ruler steady and flat and also draw your line without difficulty. By putting pressure across the ruler, it's going to be very much less likely to slip and isn't going to lift up on you. Another thing, you don't want to have the pencil aiming this way towards the ruler, because what that will sometimes cause is the ruler might lift up and then your pencil might go underneath the ruler. So you want to try to hold it more straight up and down. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come over to this side of the word, and we're going to be connecting from each corner here. Now this corner right here, we're not going to connect because that line is going to be going underneath the letter and we won't see it at all. This corner right here, we're not going to do because we won't see that part of the line at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect from the bottom corner of the T, lower left corner of the T, and come across. Okay? This is going to be underneath the letter. There's nothing that's going to show here, so we're not going to draw that line. I'm going to come here and we connect up with the dot. Now what we're only going to draw from this point here until we hit the letter. So that's all that we draw right there. I'm going to clean up these marks that I made. Okay, so we have the T done. And then now we're going to go to the A. So we're going to go from this point to the dot and this point to the dot. Now what this dot is called a vanishing point. The vanishing point is the point in perspective drawing where you have parallel lines that appear to converge or meet at a point off in the distance. And when you have 1 point perspective, that means you have one vanishing point. There are different types of perspective. You can have 2 point perspective, and you can even have 3 point perspective. 1 point is the simplest because you're only dealing with one vanishing point. Okay, so we're going to go here from the top upper right corner of the A. We're going to draw it just until you hit the T and stop. And then bottom right corner of the A down here. And this one is going to continue on all the way to the vanishing point. So we're going to just go straight over to the vanishing point. That one does not hit any letters, so it doesn't need to stop. And then here, this corner, we're going to check and see if we can get a line there. Yes, and that's going to go all the way to the vanishing point. So from this corner to the vanishing point. Now this corner, this angle right here, that is underneath, totally underneath the letter, so that is not going to get a line. This corner here is going to get a small line, but only drawing it until you touch the A. So just that much and stop. You still have to line these 2 points up to make sure that this angle is correct. this bottom corner of the left leg of the A is going to be going all the way to the vanishing point, and this last bottom corner of the left leg of the A also will go all the way to the vanishing point. Now with the C, we have curves, and curves we handle a little bit differently. So what you do with a curve is you're going to get your ruler lined up with the vanishing point. What you can do is put your pencil down right on that vanishing point and push the ruler till it hits the pencil. Now what you're going to do is slide your ruler up until it just touches this bottom of the C. And this is where we're going to be drawing a line. Okay? And we'll do the same thing with the top of the C. So this one, what we're going to do is we're going to put the ruler, push it to the vanishing point. This one we're going to be pushing up the ruler, up, 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 until it's just almost left the line of the C, the top, and you're drawing just that line right there. Now we also have some other corners here that we are going to address. So we have this corner right here, and you can use that strategy to keep this vanishing point position lined up, and then just move the ruler to connect up with your angle here, and that's just going to go right to that point and stop. And here, and we have this corner right here. And this corner, we're not going to draw anything because it's underneath the letter and not visible. All right, so once you have these lines drawn, now what you're going to do is just you're going to trace over your lines, and at this time I want you to try to get these lines drawn freehand. So you already have the line that you're following. You're just going to turn your paper so that it's a natural direction for your hand to move to get these lines drawn. So you're pulling, you're using that pendulum in your shoulder to get these lines drawn. If you're a little bit off your line, don't worry, just kind of keep going. All right, and remember, if you breathe in, out before you start, make sure your shoulders are dropped, and then take another breath in, and then as you're drawing that line, release your breath. So let the air out as you're drawing. It kind of helps you have a more relaxed posture as you're drawing your lines. So start with your short lines first, and then you can come in and start working on these longer lines. So these are the challenge lines. Kind of got that one crooked, but it's not bad. Just make sure that as you're doing this, really focus on aiming towards that target. So you want to keep your eye tracking and moving your eye just a little bit ahead of where your line is so that you can be aiming towards that target. Okay, so now this is pretty much done. What we're going to do next is just erase. And now we have all the lines, everything's done with the line work, and at this point we could do some shading to add, to make it look more three-dimensional. And to do that, if you assign where your light source is coming from, and then have the, so for example, we'll have the bottoms of the letters will be the darkest part of the letter. So I'm going to shade this darkest. Shade this dark. And this will be darkest. All right, now this is the underneath side here because that's like the bottom underneath of the line of the T, the top line of the T. So this is going to be a dark area. This is going to be an underneath place, so this will be a dark area. This little spot right here is going to be a dark area. And then this spot right here. Now, the one thing is we have this curving here, so we're going to look at about where is it going from the underneath of the C, and now it's becoming the vertical part of the C. So it's right about here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a gradient where we're going to change the value as it changes from the horizontal to the vertical side of the C. Okay, so, but we're not going to do that yet. What we're going to do next is we're going to have a light value on these parts that are on the side. Okay, so we're going to do light value. So we've got three sides we can see, and we have white, light, dark. Okay, and here, and since this value is lighter than the value we shaded here, you can just shade over into your dark section because it won't matter. Make sure your pencil is sharp. My pencil was starting to get dull. What you want to do is use the side of the pencil. So the side of the pencil is going to give you more surface for the lead, and you want to have the pencil sharp because that also is going to create more surface so that you can get like a softer shading, or softer, more even value when you're shading. You want to work on a smooth surface, so if you are at a table or a desk that has any type of texture or uneven surface, you want to put something down to give you a smooth surface to work on. So then this is going to be medium here, or light, I guess, medium light, we'll call it. Try to shade with control. If you accidentally get a little bit of your shading into the if you get a little bit of your shading accidentally going over into the area that needs to be white, you can clean it up with an eraser. Try not to touch your paper where you've been doing shading, because then that's going to cause smudging, and you don't want to have smudging. So what you should do is, you have that scratch paper underneath your paper. You're going to take that and you're going to use that to protect your paper, so that as you're shading, you're not smudging any of your shading with your hand. So you rest your hand on the scratch paper and not on your drawing paper, and that will help prevent smudging. Okay, so we have this light side here and this light side here. And then we have this dark area here. It's going to be dark. And then as we're coming around, we're going to lighten up the pressure as we're coming around this curve here, and keep it light at this point. Okay, and so this gives a little more illusion of some depth, dimension to the letters, and we're done. Make sure you put your name and period number on it.